Today I want to talk about a way to help you to appreciate and utilise everything that's positive in your personality. Coming up. Hi, my name's Christine L. Conroy. Welcome to Happy Stuff and Fluff, a channel for women over 50 who are getting happy and growing younger. If this is your first time with us, welcome. We have a whole toolbox on Happy Stuff and Fluff on how to help you to increase your well-being and happiness and resilience. So please come and join us, subscribe and hit the bell. That would be great. So yes, today we're talking about the VIA character assessment. Now, those of you who have been with me a while will have taken the test and you will know what I'm talking about when I talk about your signature strengths. If you've forgotten about them, now might be a good time to dig them out. I'll wait for you. Okay, so for the rest of you, I will leave a link down below, so don't worry about it. What it is, in actual fact, it's a scientific test that measures your strengths. Now, it's widely used in academia, in industry, in personal development, in the military, in education, and what it is that we all each possess 24 strengths. And we possess these strengths to one degree or another. Now, these strengths are categorised into under 6 classes of virtues. Now, there are endless studies since this mammoth task was completed. If you want to know more about its origins and so on, I shall leave a link here. And I also want you to read this book. It's an amazing book which goes into strengths and how to use them. It was written by one of the authors is Niemiec, who you will remember very kindly wrote the foreword to my book, Stitch Your Own Silver Linings. But it's easy to understand. It goes into great detail about how to appreciate and ignite your positive strengths. So you've got to stop beating yourself up and start looking at the good bits, because it's the good bits that's going to help you. And it's the good bits that's going to get us through our current situation and to keep us resilient. So the VIA character strengths assessment really gives us language to talk about our strengths, which we haven't really had before. I think I did it in one of the last videos, asked you to write down your top 5 strengths. Now, unless you've done a personality test before, and even then, you don't really have the language to be able to say what your strengths are. So this is great for that too. Now, what we mean by strengths then are the natural, innate, positive capacities that make up your psychological being. That's what we're talking about. Now, as I say, there are 24 strengths and they are these. And now it's interesting that during our current situation, collectively, many of us seem to be kind of operating through this using particular strengths, using strengths such as prudence. It's an old-fashioned word, really, prudence, isn't it? But it's talking about self-regulation. So we are practicing prudence, we're behaving more carefully, and self-regulation. Now, this is one of my lowest strengths, but even I'm learning to use it to the best advantage in our current situation. Hope that things are going to be better. We all are labouring under that hope. Social intelligence, which is about understanding and caring what other people need. Perspective, we're all trying to see the long-term outcomes of this, understanding that what's happening to us is relatively short-term. And kindness, we're seeing that in abundance all over the world right now. Now, as it happens, those very same strengths, prudence, hope, social intelligence, perspective and kindness, according to research, are the very ones that act as buffers against the negative effects of stress and trauma. Now, using your own personal strengths also reinforces this buffering against stress, which is why I wanted to bring it to your attention or remind you about them if you have actually done the tests and discovered what your best capacities are. Now, when you take the test, or if you've taken the test, you will get a list of 24 strengths. Now, there's number 1, obviously, down to 24. It does not mean that whatever comes in at 24 is actually a weakness. It simply means that that one at 24 is not something that you use easily or regularly. I've said before, mine appears to be humility. What that says about me, I don't know. Well, I do. So yeah, it isn't a weakness. It just means that it doesn't come to the fore a lot. You don't use it a lot. But your top 5 strengths, we know, if you regularly use these, that they are powerful boosters to your well-being. And also, if you use them on a daily basis, help you to create excellence in all areas of your life, especially in the workplace. Lots of studies have been done about engaging people in the workplace through using their strength. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about our current situation and safe cocooning, and how we can use the positive capacities in our personalities to help us get through that. So, we know that it increases well-being using your top 5 strengths, but they are equally powerful to be used as effective stress busters. So your top 5 strengths are what we call signature strengths. Now, how can we use them in our current situation in order to help us? How can we add them to our toolbox in order to help us? Well, obviously, I can't go through all 24 strengths. So what I will do, these are my top signature strengths that you can see here. These are my signature strengths. Now, I've taken this test over the last 8 years or so. I've probably taken it 3 times, and it does change according to circumstance, I guess. But they don't change too much. It might change, for example, what comes in at number 1 and what comes in at number 5. These are mine at the moment. So, top strength, love of learning. So, mastering new skills and learning new things, learning new knowledge, obviously, whether on your own or formally. The tendency to want to add to your knowledge is love of learning. Coming in at number 2 is perspective, so being able to provide wise counsel to others, having ways of looking at the world that makes sense to oneself and to others. And then number 3, appreciation of beauty and excellence. So that speaks for itself, really. Appreciating excellence and beauty in all domains of life, from nature to art to mathematics to everyday life, science and so on. Number 4 is hope, so expecting the best in the future and working to achieve it, and believing that a good future is something that can be brought about. And then number 5, honesty. I've talked about this before. So this is about speaking the truth. The older I get, the more truthful I seem to be. But broadly, presenting yourself in a genuine and sincere way, I think, is honesty. So these are my top 5. Now, what can I do to utilise these now to help me through our current situation? Okay, well, let's have a look at love of learning. Now, I spend my working day researching, and therefore I'm always learning. But to use this strength differently might involve me learning something completely different, something I didn't even think I had a particular interest in, or something I haven't considered before. So, for example, right now, I have this interest in America's Gilded Age, and I've started to do a little bit of easy learning, and by that I mean watching film or YouTubes on the subject, not actually hard studying, and I'm finding it fascinating. So that's just one way of utilising love of learning. Perspective, how can I use my strength of perspective? Well, I can use this, for example, by remembering or seeing the bigger picture when I'm getting frustrated about the fact that I can't eat out. It's one of my biggest things. We moved to the city centre, if you don't know. well, 2 years ago, Mr. Kitchen and I, my husband, we left the countryside, a big house in the countryside, and came to the city centre. And one thing we love about the city centre is we have all the fabulous restaurants on our doorstep. Not helping as much at the moment. And so when I think about that and start to bemoan the fact that I can't go out to eat, I can remember the bigger picture and also remember the situation that other people are in, which is a lot more harsh than my own. And so I can put that into perspective in that sense. Appreciation of beauty and excellence. Well, I've said before, I like to go to art galleries, which I can't do. What I can do is visit them online. I can do that, visit them virtually. I can take a few minutes to just stop, pause for a second and remember and look at and smell. I wish we had smelly vision. If you could smell these flowers, it's divine. I can stop, and that grounds me and brings me to balance. And then hope, believing that our current situation is going to end, of course, and behaving with that in mind. That's how I can utilise that. Now, honesty, speaking the truth, which I tend to do, how can I use that more in this instance? Well, I could perhaps make the decision to be more open and honest about my true feelings and talk to someone about that. So those are different ways that I can use my strengths. So have a look at your own top 5 strengths, your signature strengths, and see how you might be able to use those in a different way, and you're going to notice the difference. Now, in addition to using your personal strengths, look at the strengths proven to be most associated with happiness. And this is across the world. These are most associated. Now, this, incidentally, if you don't know, the VIA character assessment has been taken by millions of people across the world, all domains across the world. This is why I like to use it. It's very scientifically based. So, look at the top 5 strengths to do with happiness, or which are correlated the most with happiness. These are zest, hope, love, gratitude, and curiosity. So how can we use zest? Well, this is an easy one. Get active, do some physical exercise. And I don't necessarily mean throwing yourself around your front room. So, for example, I've said to you before, during this cocooning, there have been mornings where I wake up with a kind of sense of, it's like a kind of sense of foreboding. If I feel like that, then I go through my breathing and gratitude, and then I get straight up, get dressed and go for a walk. And I don't mean a slow walk, I mean a fast walk that gets me out of breath. It expending energy gives you energy, and it gives you that zest, and it makes you feel, obviously it releases all the feel-good hormones, it makes you feel better straight away. So that's zest. Hope. Remind yourself of all the things that you will be able to do again, and maybe even plan something far ahead or a few months ahead that you can look forward to. That's going to increase that sense of hope. Love, well, the strength of love actually involves the giving and receiving of warmth and closeness with others. Now, obviously, that's a little bit of a challenge at the moment, but naturally you'll find ways to express love to your family, for example, but something that I think is lovely to do, instead of FaceTiming and Zooming and all of those things, which are great, write a little note, actually handwrite a card and post it. We still have the post. Imagine receiving a little letter expressing how much you're missing someone, how much you're missing them, and so on. You're giving joy to them as well as to yourself. Think of different ways. Use the strength of curiosity to come up with a different way. We'll be talking about that in a second. Gratitude. Well, we all know how good gratitude is for us. If you struggle with expressing gratitude, I have a full 30-minute workshop on it here. I'll leave the link here if you'd like to look at that. And then curiosity, so taking an interest and exploring and discovering something new, being willing to do that. It's very close to love of learning, actually, this strength, except that it's the willingness to look at something new. I always think, in order to build that curiosity, if you start a sentence or a thought with, I wonder if straight away, it's curiosity. Now, something small, so for example, if you go for a walk daily, then you might think, I wonder if we went the other way, it would take us longer. Or I wonder if we went the other way, it would be a more scenic view. Or I know that's something small. How many times do I say it? The smallest things often have the biggest impact. Okay, so that is what we call a strength-based approach. And that's how, that's how you can use these strengths to help you. It's another tool for your toolbox to help you get through this and to become more resilient. Come on, we're on the home stretch of this particular challenge, and a whole lot more capable of dealing with whatever the next one is going to be. Okay, we can get through this. Now then, if you are around on Thursday at 2 o'clock, at 7 o'clock British Standard Time, and I think that's about 2 o'clock EST, I'm going to be doing a live Facebook again, but this one's just really I just want to chat. I'd like to hear how you're getting on. You'll be able to tell me there, as long as I can work out the tech and can read what you're actually saying. But I'm going to do that on Thursday of this week, which I believe is the 7th of May. So I'd love to see you there, so I can just even say hello to you and get a hello back. Okay, I hope you can see me then. But remember, on the Happy Stuff and Fluff, we're getting happy and growing younger, and I hope today's session was helpful to you. I'll see you next time. Stay safe.